Hello friends, in this video we are going to discover the top 10 fastest dying big cities in America. Did you ever go back to a city after a decade or more and think to yourself, oh, the vibe isn't what it used to be? Maybe it's way quieter, or it feels less safe, or there's a homeless guy shooting up a needle for his daily fix. This is happening to many cities across the U.S., often because of major industries leaving a particular region or even relocating to another country, leaving a big chunk of the population jobless and forcing them to move somewhere else. While some American cities are growing quickly, the cities you'll see on this list are going in the opposite direction, as they lose more and more of their residents. As you'll see, there can be different reasons for this, and they can certainly be connected. If people leave, the economy shrinks, which leads to more crime, which will naturally make people leave, because not a lot of people enjoy getting robbed while struggling to find a job and at the same time being bored out of their minds because they live in a place where the most entertaining attraction is the inflatable tube man at some depressing car dealership. Kindly make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon before we start this video about the 10 fastest dying big cities in America. Now let's dig deeper into each of the top 10 fastest dying big cities in America. Number 10, Detroit, Michigan. This one is a bit more complex than the others. Detroit has always had a bad reputation, and it certainly has suffered through a lot, including going through bankruptcy. That's right, the entire city of Detroit went bankrupt. Formerly one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S., the home of Motown Records started dying largely due to the decline of its automotive industry as many car companies pulled out. Walking in some parts of Detroit can sometimes feel like it's a ghost town, with quiet streets and empty buildings. Detroit is actually known for its abandoned houses which you can buy for just $500. Man, imagine being rich enough to buy one of those. On the flip side, the city has been emerging from bankruptcy with some plans for improvement, and is now one of the top cities for millennial job seekers. While the population is still shrinking, residents are confident that everything will turn around. Number 9, Buffalo, New York. New York State seems to be doing okay, but not freaking Buffalo. Since 2010, Buffalo has lost about 5% of its population, but the decline of the city can be traced back at least to 1983 with the loss of the Bethlehem steel plant, which left over 10,000 people unemployed. And I guess that made residents realize that, well, they could move to literally any other city, so why would they stay in Buffalo of all places? Before its decline though, it was the largest grain milling center in the U.S., which still didn't justify staying in Buffalo, to be honest. And then, classic story, the heavy industries and steel mills moved to other regions. Before that happened, however, Buffalo had more millionaires per capita than any other city. Number 8, Jackson, Mississippi. The city is at half the national average when it comes to home values, with homes averaging around $56,000. So it's not doing great. Not a surprising one here, as it's in Mississippi, and I mean, come on. To be fair, they did receive a $1 million grant in 2019 to redo their transportation system, so let's cross fingers, but if the city sucks in the first place, you wouldn't want to get around anyway, so I'm not sure I see the point. Number 7, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This city really got unlucky when it came to its reputation. It used to be known as one of the country's most segregated cities, and now it ranks at the bottom of the list for startups. This makes it very unlikely that companies will bring their business to the city. In addition, inequality went up with a bigger upper class and a bigger lower class, shrinking the percentage of middle-class families in the last 30 years. The poorest parts of the city have a higher infant mortality rate than Syria, which just sounds insane, as I'm guessing Milwaukee isn't being targeted by rockets. Number 6, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Americans in general struggle with obesity, but it's worse in certain places, including Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is among the top cities in America with the worst diets, with 1/3 of the population being obese and around 40% reporting that they don't eat healthily. And that's just the people who reported not eating well. Most people don't even know they're eating crap. That being said, does that have anything to do with the declining population? Well, we can assume it adds to why people aren't satisfied with their lives there, but it's probably just one small detail on top of the rest. Baton Rouge suffers from much of the same things we mentioned with other cities, but the declining population in recent years can also be attributed to the 2016 flood. Number 5, Anchorage, Alaska. No offense to old people here, but the senior population of Anchorage is growing at triple the rate of the national average, and that's never a good thing. I'm not saying there should be less old people, okay? It's just that a rapidly aging population means fewer working age people, which leads to a series of negative consequences for the economy. This isn't an economics channel, but hopefully you get the gist of it. The population of this Alaskan city has been declining big time since the 1980s, and part of the reason people keep leaving is because of the constant crime. In other words, all the younger folks are letting their parents and grandparents fend for themselves. Number 4, Cleveland, Ohio. This city's decline is largely due to large companies leaving the city, like John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company, which used to provide thousands of jobs to Clevelanders and was apparently broken up because of a lawsuit by the U.S. government. That happened in 1911 though, but it's something that has kept happening since and is one of the best examples to explain dying cities. Some cities are highly dependent on their local industries, and if a big company disappears or moves somewhere else, people will leave to find work somewhere else. To give you an idea of just how bad this city is doing, take a look at these numbers. In the last 50 years, the population has declined by nearly 60%. Number 3, St. Louis, Missouri. This one is the deadliest city in the United States. There's a violent crime rate of over 2,000 per 100,000 people, so that's 1 in 50 people experiencing violent crime. I don't know about you, but I don't like those odds. Or I guess I could do it, but then I would have to be among the people committing the violent crime. Yeah, that sounds better. I'm not a violent guy, but you gotta adapt, you know what I'm saying? But otherwise, moving there is not a good idea. Would it really be worth staying in a city where they slice their bagels like loaves of bread? Yes, they do that. And it's the deadliest city in America. I'm not sure what the connection is here, but I'm convinced there is one. Like, maybe slicing your bagels like that is closely linked to psychopathic personality traits. Just bringing up a theory I have. Number 2, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. One thing Pittsburgh can be happy about is the increasing flow of immigrants to the area. I mean, at least for those who like immigrants. Hopefully, this will help Pittsburgh grow again since a lot of its inhabitants have been moving elsewhere in recent years. Some people just can't find a job there, or they're simply looking for different scenery, or just like it happens anywhere else in the country, they go to the other side of the planet because they fell in love with a gross guy pretending to be a Russian woman on an online dating platform. Number 1, Baltimore, Maryland. Back in 2018, Baltimore experienced its biggest population drop in a single year since 2001. Unfortunately, when you think of Baltimore, you think of crime. Even though Maryland is the state with the highest median household income, the city of Baltimore suffers from a weak job market, high crime rates, and poor housing options. In 2019, Baltimore City Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark said the population will come back as soon as we get all this violence under control, which might be right, but it's going to take a lot of work to fix the heavy crime. Seriously though, Baltimore has the highest homicide rate in the country. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, click the subscribe button so you can receive more content like this. Post your favorite cities among the top 10 fastest dying big cities in America in the comments below. I'd love to read them and I'm sure others would too.